Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is TU Football Update, brought to you by Brahms. Here's Jeremie Poplin.
Welcome in, everyone, to another Tulsa Football Update here live from the digital desk. My name is Jeremie Poplin, and Tulsa coming off of a difficult loss on the road at New Mexico State and Las Cruces. Long trip back, and the Golden Hurricane were back at it on Sunday. We'll hear from Trey Lamb coming up in just a few moments, and a couple of the players as well, and also from the Navy perspective. But I want to thank our sponsors, Brahms. Thank you, Brahms, for jumping on board and sponsoring all of our great content live here from the digital studios. Well, as I mentioned, it was a rough one for the Golden Hurricane on Saturday night, falling 21-14. We do a segment on the Blitz that's called The Good, the Bad, and the Surprising. We can kind of morph that into what went right, what went wrong in so many different instances here for this Tulsa team. I want to try to keep it on the positive here in the early stages. But from a positive perspective, I do think that there is something in terms of carrying over through the rest of the season in the type of performance that you saw out of TU defensively, holding New Mexico State to 98 total yards in the first half, completely dominating the interior and shutting down the run game, which prompted, now this is where part of the bad part comes in, prompted New Mexico State to completely shift and change what they were doing offensively in the second half, using more quick game, and it really caught the Golden Hurricane off of and got them just completely out of line and flummoxed and mixed up. Had a very difficult time stopping the slant. Trey Lamb addressed that in his press conference, and some cause for concern. Now, how long-term is that? That's still to be determined. But this staff, knowing how steadfast they are and the belief and how good that they are, they're going to come up with a couple of different solutions if we see teams try to take advantage of that here in the very near future. And why wouldn't you, based off of what you've seen on tape so far? So let's go back to the positives. It's not great that Baylor Hayes had to come in, but what Baylor Hayes did when he came in the first half was operate the offense exactly how Trey Lamb wants. Intensity and with pace. Now, some of the offense completely drops off in terms of volume. Trey talked about that yesterday in the press conference. But in the plays that they have in for Baylor, and why wouldn't he have a good understanding of this offense with how it's supposed to be operated? Given his time with Coach Lamb at ETSU, I thought he came in and did a really, really nice job in many instances. And if that was your first ever true peek at Hayes running the offense, it at least gives you confidence in the future, knowing if Kirk Francis is unable to play coming up this Saturday, still no word on that yet, that you still feel like that the offense can operate at an extremely high level with Hayes there at a quarterback. Running game was good again for the most part. Offensive line, maybe not quite as good as what they were in week one, but still showing signs that they can be a really good group throughout the rest of the regular season. Some notes here that I took down. Hayes, by the way, 14-17, 135 yards, had a 24-yard touchdown run. Coach had mentioned, he's fiery, likes to talk some smack. Can confirm that he does like to talk smack, especially after that touchdown run that he had the other night. And then the 18-yard pass to Brody Foley was, a incredibly well-designed play call from Trey Lamb and the offensive staff. That interception in the fourth quarter, a rough one, and one of those learning type plays that he's going to take with him moving forward. But you could see at least where the intentions were in trying to make the throw that he did. Zion Booker, 9 passes, 57 yards, 15 catches so far on the season for him, and Brody Foley just continuing to find ways to make an impact and catch touchdowns. So the positives are there. It's easy to get down on them because of what happened, and the amount of plays that they left out there, especially in the first half, is probably going to haunt them. And Coach Lamb had even said it was a very difficult 48 hours for him just waking up and thinking about that game. But the team has officially moved on as of 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. A lot of things went wrong, and we could put this in the bad category. We've touched on the corners. Coach Lamb's exact quote was this: they just executed, they were making plays, and we were on their backs, but we got exposed a little bit of corner, and that's something that we've got to address later and get fixed at some point. And the next 10 games, they know they're going to have to play incredibly tight games. Coach Lamb thinks that 7 or 8 are going to be decided by one score. So they've got to figure out ways in order to learn how to win. And that's a process with a new head coach, new players coming in, and figuring things out. And I asked Coach Lamb about that specifically during the press conference, and here was his answer.
I think you talk about separating. I think you talk about play calling. I think when you feel like you got a chance to step on somebody's throat, you be aggressive in the way you coach. You don't go conservative when all of a sudden you're up 1 point in this 4-minute drill. You know, you be aggressive in those moments. From a play calling perspective, I think the kids feel that. I think you get the ball to your best players in critical situations. Like, we were very intentional on that last drive. Who was touching the ball? Booker and Mackay and Dom. Like, and that's one thing we talked about in the headset. Like, before that last drive, 3.5 minutes left, 3 timeouts. We're not in 2-minute mode, but 0, 8, and 21 are going to touch this football, period. So your best players got to be able to make plays down the stretch. You got to get critical stops. You got to have a big return. But the biggest thing we need to do is fill it. We need it to happen one time. Like, we need to go beat Navy on a last play or in the fourth quarter. We need to beat a good opponent, an FBS opponent in the fourth quarter. Even Abilene never got tight. You know, our kids never felt that tightness. So you got to be able to separate. Getting 2-score leads is a big deal. Calling it aggressive when you get a lead. All those things contribute to how to win a game in the fourth quarter. We're going to be in a bunch of them.
All right, now to the surprising. After a good performance in week 1 inside of the red zone, Tulsa just could not find a way to finish drives, especially in the first half. Across midfield, 7 of 11 possessions, and they only scored twice. 2 for 4 on 4th down. Let's see, the interception in the end zone. We'll get to that in a bit with Kirk Francis. And then the missed field goal at the end of the first half after they had created a turnover to put themselves in a position to tie up the game. Coach Lamb's words, 14 points in college football is just unacceptable at this point.
We think we have good wideouts, and those 2 positions got to play better. We've got to have more explosive plays offensively. We're nickel and diming way too much. We've got to get the ball down the field. We've got to have explosive plays, and I'm talking 20, 30, 40, 50-yard gains. I think we've only had 2 or 3 all season. I can think of the Brody Foley touchdown both weeks. In the high red zone, and then the 2 runs we busted versus Abilene Christian, then the run we busted against New Mexico State for about 25 yards. So we got to be able to hit home runs. If we're going to score 40 points like we need to hit home runs. 14 points is unacceptable in college football. In today's game, unacceptable. Thought we played well enough to score 28 or 30. You know, if you hit a couple shots, and I mean, Booker's wide open on the 4th and 4, and the ball gets batted. Just a little bit of bad luck. We get a turnover, and it just happens to be 18 seconds left in the game. Like, why can't that turnover happen and give us a short field earlier in the game or later in the game to go win the game? Just a little bit of bad luck. Baylor made a poor decision late. We got to make explosive plays, and we got to get off the field on 3rd down schematically.
All right, now let's touch on Kirk Francis and the concussion. I'll let Coach kind of explain the scenario for you of exactly what happened and what the protocol is on the sidelines. And Trey mentions, hey, that's on me. I've got to be better to protect him, but also mentions where the player, in this instance, Kirk, has to be willing to share information that he's not feeling right if he takes a hit like the one that he did on the play before he ended up throwing the interception. But here's Trey Lamb on that entire scenario.
Probably find out by Thursday. You know, some concussions are 5 days, some of them are 10 days, some of them are 15 days. It's all based on concussion protocol. You know, he got popped pretty good, so we'll see. I know last year he was out for 10 days with a concussion. So we'll see. It's 50-50.
What's the protocol that y'all have on your sideline for identifying players who have concussions and pulling them out?
Yeah, so our trainer obviously watches the game very closely. We have medical doctors that travel with us. And then the player, you know, has the responsibility of being honest with us as well. You know, hey, my bell's rung. I need to see the trainer. So when I got Kirk over there and saw that he was in tears, because I think he knew he was concussed, and I kept telling him, "Are you okay, Coach? I'm good. Don't take me out. Don't take me out." And I was like, "Hey, man, I'm not putting your health at risk. You need to go be evaluated." After he threw the interception, so I wish it had happened to play before, and that's something I got to educate him with. Is, hey, you got to be honest with me, man. Like, if I know you're tough and you want to show toughness as a team captain, but you're hurting the team if you try to go back in the game. Very proud of the way he played. I thought he had a decent first half. I would have been excited to see what he did in the second half, and he's going to come back from this, whether it's this Saturday or next Saturday, and be our starting quarterback. And I'm excited to watch him play. So he'll learn from it.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for Kirk Francis to sustain another concussion. Remember last year he missed several days battling concussion symptoms, and you just never know. Everyone's different with the way that you come out of the concussion protocol. Hopefully this is one that he is able to overcome sooner rather than later. But we'll just have to take a wait-and-see approach, because always safety is the top priority. All right, on to Navy, this week's opponent. Never an easy one at all when Navy comes to town. I asked Coach how long that they've been preparing for Navy, and it's probably beneficial that you play Navy early in the season compared to late in the season. That gives you an opportunity to work on this as soon as possible in the summer.
Yeah, all summer we did it on Tuesdays for 30 minutes on defense. Offensively, they're a little different. Honestly, they're a little bit like Abilene Christian. They're odd front. They're going to come from everywhere, multiple coverages, protect their back end. Very physical at the point of attack. They got a good rush, jack, stand-up backer. They've got a nose guard that is all-world. Number 96, he's the best player we've played against all year. Got to know where he is, all-conference player. They're hard to block. So we're going to have to do some things on offense. Defensively, we've been working on this for a while.
All right, what about the specific challenges that Navy presents? Here's the head coach on that.
Yeah, ask Oklahoma. He took one for 95 yards, and they couldn't catch him, and they got SEC speed. So the quarterback run is certainly a problem. The other problem is you're having to get safeties and corners into run fits in the alleys. And then all of a sudden 4 verts happens from a play action belly G pass, and you've got tight ends and slot backs running down the field wide open. So they can lull you to sleep a little bit. The good thing is our defensive coordinator was at University of Connecticut, and they played Navy and Army every year, when he was there on the defense side of the ball. We played Wofford, which was a triple option team in our league. We played VMI back when they were triple. We've played Kennesaw State, but when they were ranked number 3 in the country, triple option. So we've seen it, and we have a plan, and it would be different. You can't do the same thing every year because they study that. I guarantee you Coach Cronick is going back and watching Mercer versus Gardner-Webb, Kennesaw State versus Gardner-Webb when we faced these type of offenses. And he's going to find some things, and we're going to tweak some things. We're not going to be the same. So, Coach Cronick, if you're listening, we got some new looks, hopefully.
All right, Navy head coach Brian Newberry is an Oklahoma native. Here's some of his comments from yesterday on what he's seen so far from Trey Lamb and this staff at TU.
Yeah, I think Josh Reardon is a really good coordinator. He's been with Trey for a little while and does a really nice job, like I mentioned earlier. They're structured a lot like us. They're getting to 4 down with one of their guys being a hybrid, like our Raider is. So ability to get into an odd front and even front, they'll mix those up a little bit. But you're going to see some zone pressure and some man pressure, and they're going to mix their coverages up in the back end, and so they do a really nice job, present some problems, and of course you never know exactly how they're going to line up, against us, and we got to be able to identify that early on, and I'm sure they're going to mix it up some too. But the big thing we have to do is avoid negative plays, on Saturday.
What about the Tulsa defense? You heard from Coach Lamb how difficult of a challenge this is. Coach Newberry has thoughts on the TU defense.
I think Trey's a excellent head coach and really, really good offensive mind. I think he's done a nice job, with his roster in a short amount of time there. And obviously they're a work in progress. We're real impressed with what they've done so far. Impressed with what they've done on defense. Haven't given up a lot of points or yards. Been pretty stingy, and like what they're doing schematically on defense. They're aggressive. They're similar to us. You're going to see multiple coverages, and they're going to try to create some negative plays and try to create some chaos. And they do a good job with that. And the personnel is good. Offensively, they've got some weapons. They've been really balanced the first two games and averaging almost 450 yards of offense and over 200 on the ground. And so they've done a lot of really good things. And they certainly present some problems schematically with what they're doing on both sides of the football. So it's going to be, we're diving into it now, getting ready to go out here in just a few hours. But a good football team, and they're playing with some confidence right now, and some kind of renewed energy with the change in leadership there. And I think Trey's done a great job.
All right, let's take a quick timeout. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll hear from some of the Tulsa players. But first, a message from our wonderful sponsor, Brahms. Shouts out to you guys for not only the delicious shakes, but the wonderful breakfast food as well. And when we come back, Tulsa players.
Satisfy your sweet tooth with a Brahms old-fashioned banana split. Crafted with a delicious banana, split down the middle and filled with not one, but 3 scoops of Brahms premium ice cream flavors. To complete this masterpiece, all your favorite toppings are poured on each scoop to bring it all together in a perfect harmony of flavor. Treat yourself to an old-fashioned banana split at Brahms, where every spoonful leaves you wanting more.
Dom Richardson and Devin Robinson at the podium from yesterday. Dom, another good game for him at the running back spot, and Robinson was all over the field, especially in the first half from his linebacker spot. Let's get some of their thoughts on the heartbreaking loss at New Mexico State.
I feel like in the first half we executed pretty well on the offensive side of the ball. There were some things that were slight kind of minors, but things are very fixable. Obviously, Kirk went out with a concussion, and hopefully we have him back soon. Baylor Hayes come in, stepped up, had a big role, had a touchdown run, and threw a couple big passes. But that was his first time stepping on the field like that, and obviously a lot of pressure goes on that time when it comes down to when crunch time. Game was kind of close, and we try to make big plays and everything. And he stepped up pretty well, and I feel like he will continue to do that as we go along in the season.
We talked after the first game, and you talked about that there wasn't, I guess, a lot of maybe mental preparation on your part for whether you were going to carry it 10 times, 20 times, that what it was is what it was from your perspective. What is the difference in how you feel when you carry it 10 times versus 20 times? I guess, how do you pace yourself during the week? How do you take care of yourself during the week when you aware that you're going to carry it that many times a game?
I feel like I just take care of my body pretty well. Like certain things like yoga, ice baths, and different stuff like that. That's my main focus before every game and after a hard game like that. Obviously I'm a type of back who's going to run downhill and lay the first hit. I take a lot of carries and a lot of hits and all that. So it obviously builds up, but I feel like my body's kind of made for that, and I'm able to finish through the season while running that hard.
So Coach Lamb had mentioned, I guess he didn't think that maybe necessarily as a team you'll handle the road very well. One of the things that he's kind of stressed during the off season was how would this team respond to adversity. Now you're only a couple days into adversity. How do you think that you guys have responded to the loss, and how do you bounce back moving forward?
I feel like after that loss, man, obviously, like I said, we had a little minor errors, but not as big. We have a great team. A team that will give it all. On offense and defense, we're gonna give it our all. I feel like we get back on the sideline, coach each other up, and kind of, we down a bit. We've been down and didn't really score a lot of touchdowns, and that's okay. I feel like we can overcome that by just teaching ourselves and kind of listening to the things that we make mistakes on, and correcting them things and the minor errors, and kind of just moving forward. And obviously, yeah, that's adversity from that game, and we just got to learn from it and keep moving forward. That's how we look at it.
I mean, defensively, I feel like we handled adversity really well, especially the first half. I mean, we didn't really get any points on the board, but we kept going out on the field, trying to get 3 and outs every single time, and then really just being on the road and then facing a really good New Mexico State team. I mean, we knew they were going to come out with a punch, so really just coming out there and just keeping our cool and just saying play the next play. I mean, that really helped us a lot. And then really just the leaders in the locker room, including myself and Dom, I mean, we just kept everybody cool and just saying, like, we still got this game. We got a second half to play. So really just keeping our cool and keeping our everybody chill really throughout the whole game and not really getting too ahead of ourselves, even though it was a close game the entire game. So it was just about playing the next play.
What did you feel like changed between the first half and the second half for you guys defensively, and that caused some of the issues you had getting them off the field?
I mean, I really feel like their quick game started really getting us the second half, because they really didn't do that a lot the first half. They were really trying to run the ball and throw it deep, and we really shut the run down really well. It was just the quick game that really got us, because we were really trying to get after the quarterback a lot this week. And, yeah, the quick game really just messed us up in the second half. We weren't really prepared for it, and we'll be more prepared for it in the future.
How does the game plan change defensively in general, and maybe for you specifically when you play Navy?
Really just having the mindset of, just like I said before with adversity, just playing the next play. I mean, Navy's going to try to fight for every inch. That's what type of team they are. So really just coming downhill, making them have to run it, and then making them have to throw it. So really just making sure we tackle well this week and we stay disciplined with our eyes. So that's really the big thing, is our eyes, and really just tackling well this week.
Seems like the type of game that you would have the ability to thrive in, knowing that you can thump people pretty good.
Yes,
but
sir.
That's also one of those ones that, from a vision standpoint, like you have to be sound
Yes,
in your game against Navy. But just the opportunity to have a physical type of game, how much are you looking forward to that one?
I mean, really the entire linebacker room and the defense is super excited. I mean, we know it's going to be a really physical game, and so really just whatever we put on tape this week is going to show other teams how physical we are down the stretch. So really just coming out with a really strong first punch and just showing them that we can hang with any team in the country is going to be a big thing for us, and I'm super excited.
I asked Coach Lamb this, but you guys back on the practice field yesterday after a loss, and you both have played a ton of football. How has the team kind of responded, and where are you guys at mentally after being disappointed but yet having to come right back to work?
I mean, as soon as we came in, we were like, we're going to watch the film, and then right after that, we're on to Navy. So everybody's mindset is on Navy now, and it's play the next team, 1-0 mentality. So really just whatever Coach Lamb tells us, we're going to do it. So he's wanting us to move on to Navy, we're going to move on to Navy.
Yes, sir.
Devin, what are the important things in regard to keeping your eyes in the right place in a game such as this? You know, reading your keys and that. How important is that?
It's really important, because Navy is more of a misdirection team, so they're going to try to get our eyes looking at something that's not going on and then try to run it the other way. So really just in practice this week, really staying locked in and really just staying disciplined. That's really all it is staying disciplined on your key, because everybody has their key when we're playing a team like this. So if everybody does their job, then it's going to make this game a lot easier for us.
And Dominic, when they've got the ball, how do you guys fight the frustration of staying on the sideline when they've got the ball and they hold on to it? As long as they hold on to it, you know, I'm not going to say fighting boredom, but how do you fight that itch to want to get out there and maybe even go out there and hit somebody?
It's NC, man. Like I said, I believe in our defense. We got a good defense out there, linebackers, good defensive line, and good cornerbacks and safeties, man. So we just got to trust in them, and once we get out there, man, we just got to give it our all and just run hard.
All right, so now you're all caught up from an audio perspective and video, I guess, since this is a video platform. And we'll have another version of this coming up for you midweek before we get into our sideline-to-sideline preview with Navy on Friday before the game on Saturday evening. Thanks again to our sponsor, Brahms. Also, shouts out to Tatum Quinn, who I'm sure I'm annoying the you-know-what out of right now, since her desk is directly behind me and I'm shouting inside of the newsroom. So shouts out to her as well. We'll see you next time here on the latest edition of the TU Update. And thank you for tuning in to the Digital Desk. Remember to check out all of our content, news9.com and newson6.com as well.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's own Digital Studios sports presentation. Stay with News on 6, online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.
This is